Hey everybody, Mr. Youngman here, and today we're taking a really quick look at the flat lay photography planning assignment on Google Classroom. To go ahead and get started, we're going to open up the document that I have attached on the assignment, and that will open us onto our main planning page. Now, we'll probably have a section for adding a partner's name at the top. I just haven't included it in this copy yet, so don't worry about that for the moment. But if you see it on your paper, make sure you write down your partner's name if you are choosing to work with a partner. On the note of partners, you'll notice that there's some specific instructions for Section 1 and for Section 2 of our document here. On Section 1, you are allowed to use the same answers as your partner for Section 1. But on Section 2, your answers must be different from your partner's. So make sure you're being very careful with those directions to make sure that you're getting your full points and getting your full credit. So to go ahead and get started here, we're going to first find a flat lay image that we like. So we can use this link here. If we click on that link, that will bring us to a Google search page or Google Images search page for some flat lay photos. I'm just going to kind of look through these and see if there's any that I particularly like. And I'm paying attention to style, I'm paying attention to what sort of objects they've included in here. And I think that the first one that kind of stands out to me is maybe this one right here. So we got some nice cooking themes going on here with a lot of citrus, and I love the dark background. So this is probably going to be the one that I will choose to use. I'm just going to hold Control on my keyboard, click on the photo, let go of Control, and select Copy Image. I'm going to go back over to my document by switching my tab at the top, clicking underneath the first question, and using Edit Paste. Or if that doesn't work, we can try holding Command on our keyboard and pressing V on our keyboard. Sometimes it works one way, sometimes it works the other way, and I'm not entirely sure why. But you'll see that we have successfully put our photo into our document. Next is asking, what do you like about the flat lay photograph that you found? And what I was just mentioning earlier is I love that it's very thematic. We see that there's a lot of orange tones inside of here, and it seems to be kind of cooking related. So I like that everything really goes together into a single theme, and I love that dark background, so I love the dark colorations. So what I like about this flat lay is all the items in the photo go well together to show a cooking theme. The background is dark, which helps the orange colors to really stand out. So that will be my answer. But as we're going through this tutorial, I do want to remind everybody that we're not looking to copy my answers here. We want to be coming up with our own answers. I want to see what you think and why you picked the photos that you chose. Next up, what color is the background of the flat lay? I'll say this is probably a very dark blue. There's a tiny bit of blue inside of here. So let's say just very dark blue. Next, are the objects in the flat lay mostly straight or mostly at an angle? And I would say that for the most part, these are kind of at an angle. You'll see that we are making some lines at a angle here, and they're not just flat across, they're going kind of top left to bottom right. So I'd say these are definitely layered at an angle. So I will write mostly at an angle. What are some objects that you notice in this flat lay? So I notice orange slices, chocolate, pumpkins, and cinnamon are a few of the things I see right away. So orange slices, pumpkins, chocolate, and cinnamon. I think they're really going for a fall look here. All right, next up. Why do you think the artist picked these objects to include in their flat lay? And I'm going to say all of the items in this flat lay have to do with the season fall. There's a bunch of different things in this image that really go together to sell the idea of fall, and in particular, they've placed an emphasis on orange colors, which is definitely a reminder of those fall colors. So all of the items in this flat lay have to do with the season fall, and I think that's why they picked those objects. In exactly 10 words, create your own definition of a flat lay photograph. For this question, I'm really looking to see if you understand what a flat lay photograph is. And I do want to point out that it does have to be exactly 10 words. That means no more or no less. Now, for this one in particular, I will not be writing down my answer on screen here, as I really want to encourage you to think of your own personal definition. So again, in exactly 10 words, how would you define a flat lay photograph? And as always, if we need a reminder of what those flat lay photographs look like, we can go back to that link at the top, click on that link, click on the link, and you'll see a bunch of different examples. So kind of look for what all of these images have in common with each other. So moving on to our next section here, section 2. We're planning on actually shooting some flat lay photos for class, and I want these to be flat lays that show off who we are as individuals in our classroom. So the first question that's going to go into planning our flat lay, and please make sure you're paying attention to the directions in red. Fill out every box in this chart, and if working with a partner, everybody's answers must be different. But the first question is, what color will your flat lay background be? And what I pointed out in the earlier photo is that I really like the dark colors on this. So maybe mine's going to be like the reference image that I saw earlier, and we'll say, maybe in this case, black. So I'm just going to choose a black one, but we could always go back and see if we want to change that image or that answer later. Why did you choose this color? For me, it was just because this color worked really well in the flat lay image that I found earlier. So simple enough, but if you're thinking ahead and thinking about what sort of things you might put in your own flat lay, maybe you want to be choosing a color that you think is just going to accent the items in your photograph really, really well. So again, we can always circle back to that later. Will the items in your flat lay be straight or crooked? I'm going to say crooked. And the reason I chose this angle is because in my case, I feel like having objects at an angle helps to give the photograph a little bit more energy. I feel like it gives kind of a sense of movement into the photograph and gives it just a little bit more of a bit of interest. Next, we're going to be listing a few items that are special to you that you might want to include in your flat lay photograph. One item that's special to me that I might choose to include in my flat lay photograph that is about me is my wedding ring. I am very happily married, and my wedding ring reminds me of all the happy and special memories that I have created with my wife. So this item is special to me because it reminds me of the memories I've made with a person I love. The next item that I'm going to include in my flat lay photograph is simply my wallet. I've been using this same wallet for many, many years, and just like the wedding ring, it carries the scars and the memories of a lifetime of use. These are both memories that are good and bad. The next item that I might choose to include in my flat lay photograph is simply my watch. Now, this looks like just any old smartwatch, but this particular one actually was a hand-me-down from my father. My father has shaped me in a lot of different ways, and so once again, this is another object that carries a lot of memories and significance to me. And the last item that I might choose to include on my flat lay is simply my coffee cup. I found a new love of coffee these past few years, and right now it's something that I'm very interested in and something that I really enjoy. This gives me a good way that I start my morning every day. So obviously I'm taking a look at the 4 items that I have for my flat lay. Each of these are significant and important items in my life. My wedding ring, because it reminds me of the memories I've made with a person I love. My wallet, because the wallet has been with me for many years and also carries many memories. My watch, because it reminds me of the ways that my father has shaped me. And my coffee cup, because in the past few years I've discovered a new love of coffee. My coffee cup reminds me of the small joys that we find in everyday life. Lastly, as a backup option, list 4 items found at school that you might photograph instead. For this particular part, this is going to be important for the success of the project. Doing this project in the past with students, I've found that they don't always remember to bring in their special items to class for them to be able to photograph for this project. So having a list of 4 items that you can find at school as a backup option, things that you might still be interested in photographing, then this is really, really helpful to making sure we're able to complete this project on time. So in the case of my own classroom, some 4 items that I might include is going to be a camera, tripod, lens, and a memory card. These are all things that are found inside of my classroom. And again, we're going kind of with a theme here. This item ties into a theme of taking pictures. And again, in this case, with them all being directly related to each other, these answers are probably going to be the same. But that is going to conclude the flat lay photography planning and analysis assignment. In this assignment, we looked for examples of flat lay photographs that we really enjoyed and then planned out our own using the document. I hope this helps, and I will see you all back in class. Bye now.